I've been wanting to talk about writer's block and how to write when you don't feel like it for a long time now. I think I brought it up actually like 2 months ago. And this idea of writer's block's really common, but breaking past it and actually writing when you don't feel like writing, which, let's be honest, is really difficult sometimes. Comment below if you've been there, if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then you're very lucky, but sometimes writing's hard and there are a lot of times when we don't feel like it. So I guess the first tip, this is kind of a bonus tip, is to not feel bad about that. That's totally normal. We all have times when we don't feel like writing. It is what it is. But I have been paying attention to the last few months. I have been having a really hard time writing, and there have been times when I just didn't. And that's another thing we'll get into. And then I have had times when I had to, like right now, I'm on deadline and I need to get my butt in gear and I need to get going. So I have kind of been paying attention and have written down 7 different things that have helped me personally. So I'm hoping that somewhere in here will be something that you can take away, or maybe all of them will be helpful to you. Feel free to pick and choose what works for you, because we are all different. There is no right way to write. We have to figure out what works for us, and every book is different. So even what works for me on this book right now probably won't work for me again in the future. So every book is different. That's just another little bonus tip. We're gonna get into these 7 tips in just a second, but before we do, are you subscribed? That little red button right down there. If you want more videos like this one on writing or on publishing and marketing, definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can get more videos like this one in the future. And just so you know, that cute little bell next to it is not just a little artsy doodad. It actually has a purpose. It is to let you get notifications when I have new videos. Just putting it out there. Also, if you are excited about talking about ways to break through that writer's block and how to write when you don't feel like it, give this video a thumbs up. It helps my channel. I appreciate you so much. Let's get into it. All right, number 1. This is the only one that I've talked about before in regards to writer's block on this channel, but it's been a long time, at least a year or so. That is to find the root of the writer's block, because facing writer's block is going to look very different based on what the root of it is. For example, if the root of your writer's block is perfectionism, you're going to face it very differently than you might face it if the root is uncertainty and not knowing, not having a lot of direction, versus the root of maybe grief and loss and pain. So these different roots, you're gonna wanna handle it and approach it in very different ways. Only you know what the root of your writer's block is. So you need to really pay attention to that, because applying a solution that would work for perfectionism root, so to speak, is not going to be the same as what you would do for a grief root. I don't know what to call this, that sounds so weird, but like for example, for me, a lot of the last 3-4 months now, I have struggled to write, and a lot of the time I have let myself step back, because for me, this was not the right time to push through. And I acknowledged that, and I saw that, and I didn't try to force something that wasn't right for me. But like I said, I have also had moments during the last few months that I have had deadlines and I've had to write and push through. And like right now, it's been a while, I really want to get back into it. And while I might still have some of those other routes that I need to listen to where I might need to slow down, there are also routes like I am not fully certain of writing and I just kind of need to get my writerly legs under me again. So many weird metaphors that don't work together in this video, but I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Maybe a little bit of perfectionism. A lot. I'm having that route right now, where I'm reading a lot of your reviews online for the book that I just released, The Curse Hunter, and I actually need to stop myself, because the not great ones are affecting me more than usual, but also the good ones, there's so many really good ones, are putting a lot of pressure on me. So I'm feeling this pressure for the last book to be everything that it needs to be and to wrap up all the stories. And I have a vision for it where it's going to do that, but actually putting it into motion feels very overwhelming and big picture. So that leads to my second tip, which is to make really small, really achievable goals. Sometimes the idea of a 50,000 or 70,000 or even 100,000 word novel is just so massively overwhelming that we just can't can't even sit down to do it. It's just sort of like, that's the block, is I'm just so overwhelmed, and that's the root. It's just too much. It's too big picture. And so it helps to narrow it down into a very tiny picture, AKA that small, very achievable goal, such as one of the ways that I do this is to set a timer for just 5 minutes. And whatever I can accomplish in 5 minutes, that's all I'm gonna do. This is not something that I ever made up. This is a very common technique actually when it comes to doing like homework, as far as I know, is to just sit down and start, or pick a very, very small goal. Like, I'm just gonna do this one problem. I'm just gonna do this one page. I'm just gonna write 100 words. I'm just gonna, again, write for 5 minutes. And so the reason that it works, as most of you probably already know, is that it's tricking your brain into starting and getting over that initial overwhelm. And then you'll be in it and you'll typically keep going, but you don't have to promise yourself you'll keep going. You can just see how you feel. You can be like, I'm just gonna do 5 minutes, then I might get a break, then I might do 5 more minutes, then another break. Or maybe 5 minutes turns into 10, turns into 20, turns into 30, and suddenly you're having fun and you didn't even realize that that's all you needed to get started. So that's the second tip, and probably the one that's helping me the most right now, because like I said, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. That's one of my roots, is the perfectionism and the overwhelm. And to get past that, those particular types of roots, is really just starting. So this is one of the ways that I just get myself going, just get that forward momentum going. My third tip is another one that's really about tricking your brain again. And you can trick yourself even knowing that you're tricking yourself. It still works, I swear. So this one is about changing location. Something about switching up where you are can really help you get back into the zone. So a lot of the times in the last 3 or 4 months, I tried to write while sitting on this couch. This is my comfort zone. I love being on this couch, but also the TV is right there and it calls my name. The dishes are right there. They call my name. Penny's right there. Her laser is right there. She really likes playing laser. I'm seeing if saying laser a lot is gonna wake her up, but she's really mad at me because I've been saying it and not following through. But there's a lot going on in this room, so sometimes it helps to just change location and go to my office. But honestly, I swear it has actually helped me just to move right over to my table right here and just be sitting in a different location than my typical spot. It tricks my brain into getting back into work mode instead of being in whatever la la land that I was in. It honestly works. Give it a shot. It's so simple. I promise it works. My fourth tip is to build up your endurance, or a better way to say this that I feel like is more memorable is to walk before you run. And the idea behind this is that writing is a muscle, a lot like exercise. So you don't, sit on the couch one day and then the next day go, you know what, I think I'm gonna go I'm gonna go run a marathon. You just don't do that. We all know that you have to build up to that, especially if you're like me and you're kind of a couch potato. So same thing applies to writing. If you haven't been writing for a while, your writing muscles are weak. They have, dang it, I don't have the word. I always do this. I think of it when I'm editing the video. Not dilapidated. I'm trying to think like a fancy word, but basically they got weak. That's essentially what I'm trying to say. A lot of writers, including myself, go for a long time without writing and without any writing habits whatsoever. And then they say, all right, tomorrow, like the weekend, usually, I'm going to write for 4 hours. And then they get frustrated with themselves because their focus just isn't there. And maybe they only get like 15 minutes in and they're already just like, oh, this doesn't feel good. I'm not having fun. It's not working for me. Maybe I'm not supposed to be a writer. And all these doubts come creeping in, when honestly, your writing muscles are just weak and you need to build up to having that kind of stamina. Maybe that's the word I wanted earlier. I don't remember. But essentially, it's just like exercise. You can compare it to all kinds of things, to lifting weights, to going for a run. You name it, you have to build up to it, because that writing endurance that we all want really is a muscle. It really takes time to build it up and to get it strong and capable of writing for hours. So I guess my tip to actually put this into practice would be maybe pay attention to how long you can write currently and give yourself grace and try to build on that by just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. Try to make some kind of writing schedule for yourself where you show up consistently. It doesn't have to be every day unless you want it to be, but it could be I'm showing up every week, a couple times a week, I'm showing up at night, I'm showing up in the morning, something that's building a habit in you, that's also building that writing muscle so that you start to have more endurance. And when you sit down to write, you can get into it faster and you can write longer without being exhausted. I feel like I'm repeating a video I did in the past about writing habits right here, so I will link that video below if you want to watch it after this one, and you can learn more about how building writing habits helps you get in the zone as well. And I will also link below this video right here about finding the root of your writer's block, because I did mention that at the beginning. I'll link that below too if you want to just dig into it a little bit more. But the fifth tip is to focus on the now, or maybe a better way of phrasing this would be present instead of looking towards that future. Now, this one is dealing with the perfectionism root, the overwhelm root, the all the stuff that's very big picture and will make you feel a little bit overwhelmed. But focusing on right now means focusing on the scene you're in right now, focusing on the page you're writing right now, focusing on the plot hole you're facing right now, instead of seeing that whole big picture again that's overwhelming you, or trying to picture this book, you know, edited and with an editor and being published when you haven't even finished writing it yet, you know, things like that. So being in the present, in the moment that you are, is very similar to that setting small and achievable goals, where it's going to keep you from being overwhelmed. My sixth tip is one that is a little bit, people don't like it, let's just put it that way. People try to glaze over it and be like, no, that doesn't apply to me. It applies to all of us. It's probably one of the most important ones to getting past writer's block and the fear of others' opinions. This is definitely dealing with the perfectionism, the fear of other people's opinions, wanting to please everyone, and that is to just write what you like and not worry about what other people think. Actually, I'm gonna say that even more strongly in a way that's gonna be even more frustrating to hear, but I think we need to hear it. And that is to accept that not everyone is going to like your story. That is really hard to hear, I know, but I can prove it. If you want to go to any popular books like Harry Potter or Twilight or the Hunger Games series and look at the 1-star reviews, you'll find that despite being a book that people love, there are people who hate it. And you can go online and look at your favorite book or multiple books of your favorite, and you can find 1-star reviews for those books as well, because books are not for everyone. And there will always be somebody who doesn't like what you like. We are all so incredibly unique and different. And so, especially I feel like in our culture today, we have such a strong, like, you need to please everybody. You need to make sure everyone likes it. If anybody dislikes it, you're done, you're out. You can't write that book, get away from me, you know? And that's just not the case. It's not true. Books are not for everybody. There's always gonna be somebody who doesn't like what you like. You might wanna write fantasy, and then people will say, this fantasy world sucks. Fantasy is the worst thing in the world. I hate it. You might want to write historical and somebody's like, you have no imagination. You can't come up with anything that's unique and original. You can't make up worlds. Or if you write science fiction, there will be people who say, this is clearly made up. It's totally unbelievable. I don't buy it. Or if you write romance, you know, yeah, they don't belong together. I don't like it. Oh no, why did you have a love triangle? Why didn't you have a love triangle? I only read books with love triangles. I don't know if anybody says that. You get the idea. You can't please everyone. You have to write for you. You have to write what matters to you, what you care about, the things that you like, the things that make you excited about your story. And you have to not worry about what other people think, because the sad but honest truth is there are gonna be some people who don't like it. And that's okay. I feel like that's very discouraging, so let me put a positive spin on it, because my encouraging heart needs to say something encouraging. So let me put it this way. If you write your story for you, then you're guaranteed that at least one person will like it. Oh, I like that. Feel free to screenshot this and share it on social media if you like. And our 7th tip is the one that I am the worst at. I freely admit it, and that is to get off of social media or limit your social media intake. And oh my gosh, I love Instagram, I love being on YouTube, but I have found that whenever I spend too much time on these platforms, my creativity is just, it's gone. I have none left. It's like something about interacting on the internet, whether it's good or bad. I don't know what it is about social media, but it's like, it just sucks away my energy, my creativity. I love it, but I think maybe some of it is the highlight reel. When you see all the fun things someone else is doing, it takes away from what you're doing. Or maybe, I don't know, like it is all conversations, maybe because I'm an introvert, so I only have so much, you know, energy to create, and in a way you're kind of creating conversations, or you're thinking about stuff that's outside of writing and you're wasting thought on that. I don't know. I don't totally know. But I think we all know the result of being on social media too much is that it can just sort of suck away your creativity. This is definitely my nemesis. I love social media. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very helpful for marketing and it helps me in promoting all kinds of things. So I love it. I love being here on YouTube, obviously, but I think it's got to be like a little give and take. So I definitely think I still want to spend time on social media because I do enjoy it and I do have stuff that I want to do on social media and things I want to share. But I think that when I'm on deadline or when I know that I've been in a bit of a funk and I need to just get all the other opinions out of my head, I think that's part of it, is that even when you're inviting good opinions into you, you're still inviting more opinions than your own, and it can get to be that overwhelm again, and that worrying about other people's opinions and that perfectionism and just all that out there stuff. You need to just kind of like narrow your focus and kind of hibernate for a bit, honestly. And so that is what I need to do, at least personally, is to take a few days away from social media, maybe just a little bit by putting the phone in the other room for most of the day, or completely by deleting the app for a few days. So that's my 7 tips. I don't know if any of those apply to you. Let me know in the comments if any of these have been something that's helped you before, or if you have any other tips that I didn't think of that has helped you get through writer's block. I know that there are going to be other writers who want to hear from you, so please let us know in the comments. That's what has been helping me so far. I am still a work in progress. I am not perfect. I have been slowly trying to build up my endurance again. So for example, yesterday I wrote 650 something words, and that was a lot for me. I felt overwhelmed. I used to be able to write over 2,000 no problem, but it's been so long that it's been exhausting to me. And so instead of trying to push through that, I remembered that writing muscle and I took a break, and I'm going to come back to it today, and I'm going to keep coming back to it and just build up that endurance. And yeah, kind of use my own tips, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I hope some of these have helped you. Again, give it a thumbs up if it has. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. You're amazing. And also for sharing my videos with your friends, because this channel is growing so fast. We just hit 14,681 today and are on our way to 15,000. And then after that, 100,000. That's my goal. So if you want to help me get there, share this video with your friends or other videos that you enjoy so that they know about this channel. Until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye. Say bye, Penny. That looks like I pushed her. Boop, boop. Okay, bye.